How many of you seen Kaun Banega Crorepati? Show of hands. Yes. So I'll do the Kaun Banega Crorepati joke. So in Kaun Banega Crorepati, Amitabh Bachchan says that contestants say hi to the audience, and they will be like, so that is my state of mind right now. I'm talking to such distinguished guests. So thank you so much for coming to this talk. I hope the next 15 minutes are worthwhile for you. So what am I going to talk? Or before that, who am I? I'm Vivekanand Jha. I work out of Bangalore for a software services company called Nineleaps. And today I'm going to share a short story and some shorter stories embedded in between. Do I have the presentation? Yeah, so this is presentation, data, AI, and cow eggs. So I would like to talk about January 2nd. So January 1st is special, right, for all of us. It's New Year. It's also special for me because my daughter was born that day, so we celebrated the New Year, the birthday, and all that. January 2nd or 3rd, we had a strategic meeting at office. And the meeting's agenda was, how do we leverage AI and get Nineleaps to the next orbit? We were so pumped up. And I'm responsible for data. So everybody seemed to ask me this question. We are ready with our data, na? So I'm like, okay, yeah, we are ready. So my boss seemed to ask through his spectacles. Not ask in so many words, but it felt as if his gauge is asking me, is the data ready for AI? I said, yeah, ho jayega sahab. Data is all ready. And then the meeting got over. My EA, he's like, sir, data ready for AI? I said, yes, data ready for AI. So all this was happening. I said, enough of data and AI. Let me go down and have a little bit of fresh air and a tea. I went down, and it felt as if the chaiwala is asking me, is your data ready for AI? I'm like, come on, boss. Yes, data is ready for AI. So jokes apart, all this was made up. Jokes apart, I would like to talk about data and AI and what are the facets to it. So when we try to answer the question that is the data ready for AI, there are multiple facets to it, right? So do we have the data lake ready? Do we have all the pipelines built? Are my data lying in different silos? Are there owners who are reluctant to share their data? So n number of facets to it. It's like a hydra. You cut one and 10 more head opens up. But the aspect of data readiness for AI, the one that I would like to talk about today, is data quality. So there are many aspects, but I would just focus on data quality. Before I go deeper into that, let me ask you another question. Last week, there was a news item about the French LLM chatbot. Who all read about that? About the cow's eggs? Anybody? Okay, so let me share that story. So French people were not very happy that all the investments in LLM is happening only in English language. And they said, no, this is not done. We'll build our own LLM. And they went ahead and built their own LLM. They released it. I'm sure they would have slept a happy man, woman. I was tempted to say boys and girls, but not boys and girls. Man and woman, they would have slept happy. But when they woke up in the morning, they had hoped that the whole world media would be talking about them. And indeed, whole world media was talking about them, but for different reasons than they had hoped for. What were they talking about? As you know, as soon as some high-profile product comes out, people go and start using the product. So some person asked the chatbot, tell me the benefits of cow's eggs. And the chatbot started answering that, yes, cow's eggs are really good for health. It has great nutritional value, and you should have one cow's egg every day. So obviously, it was not a good experience for the end user, and it went viral on Twitter and all that. So When I think back, imagine the state of mind of the data head or the QA head of that product, what he or she would be feeling that day reading all those news. So I feel that somewhere the data quality aspects ties back to such experiences that may or may not happen with our product go lives. So coming back to the story itself, I'll give some context about the customer and the project that we were doing and how data quality came to play in the whole thing. So I'll not name our customer because I'm saying all the colorful things over here, but the customer is a big name, big brand. I can bet 10 rupees or maybe 100 rupees that all of you know their name. I can bet probably half of that money that at least half of you used their services this morning and would be using it again this evening. So that's our customer. Let's give them a proxy name, Zeus or something, Hades, Zeus. So they are our customer. They came to us. Why they came to us, I'm not sure, but thankfully they came to us, and they wanted to build a marketing, aggregation, and reporting solution. And it nicely gives an acronym MARS. So we went on a Mars mission. Now, what was the Mars mission? Our customer was in the business of spending money. So they were spending close to, if I remember correct, $1.3 billion every year on advertising across various networks, channels such as Facebook, AdWords, InMobi, Twitter, everywhere, TikTok. So everywhere they were spending money, and there were questions. We often have questions, right, that is the spend effective? Is the spend warranted? If it's effective, should I do more of it? If it's not effective, should I cut on it? So such questions. So they were like, okay, let's build this platform and let's get a young, hungry bunch of developers to build this thing. We were like, yes, sahab, ho jayega. And they said, but I'm Zeus. Will you be able to match my engineering standards? I said, ho jayega, sahab. So we started. They gave us one piece of work. They tested us and all that. And they eventually gave us the main commission. The details of the commission was that it was quite simple at the face of it. We had to build 200 pieces of integration, meaning that there were 220 sources which we had to integrate and bring the data into their data lake, the Mars platform. So we started building it. It was tough because one network guy would be sitting in China and we would be talking through an interpreter that how does your API work? Or we would be talking to Craigslist, they will be like, no, we don't give APIs. Do you send emails? No, we don't send emails. Do you give a dashboard? No, we don't give a dashboard. So how do I get my spend? Figure it out. So there were different, colorful, very, very various types of networks that we had to deal with. So there was a human angle to it. There is a collaborative angle to it. The technology, the pieces of code we had to write, that was vast. So all those were there. And there was an added pressure that we were a small company. We are still a small company. We were way smaller back then. So we were a small company. There was something playing in the mind that if we do this right, maybe it will change my life. So it was a nice project, a nice gig, challenging thing for us. So we started writing. We eventually ended up writing code generators that would generate code which is 100% unit test coverage code. So that story is for some other day. But to cut long story short, we did write 200 pieces of integration, and we deployed it. The data started flowing nicely into the aggregation platform. And I was feeling like a peacock, and all my wings were up. So my stakeholder called me to San Francisco because the system was getting used by the end user. So they said, you must be here. In case there is any problem, you can help us out. So while I was flying to San Francisco, it was quite uncomfortable because I was the peacock. All my wings were fully open. And I was feeling so proud that, wow, I have done such a nice thing, 200 integrations in 60 days, by the way. So not 6 months, not 2 years, in 60 days. And fully proud, I went there. We started socializing the platform to the end users. And end users like, we know everything. Why this new platform? We're like, okay, let's try it out. At least you would know where you are spending all the money. So there was very strong sponsorship from the CMO, so nobody rejected it outright. But soon what happened that there were murmurs of data quality, meaning they would say, hey, I use my vendor's dashboard. My vendor's dashboard is showing $200,000. Your dashboard is showing $120,000. We're like, okay, something must be wrong. Then somebody will say, hey, Facebook's dashboard is showing 500 installs, but your dashboard is showing only 320. So what's going on? So there were murmurs and discontent about what we were showing on our dashboard. So if I look back, I think that when there is a concern around unknowns, nobody would use the system because they would think that what all could be wrong over here. So there were unhappy faces, but to the point that I was thinking that whether they would even use it. This project was something that would change my life, and looks like nobody would even start to use it. But there was a lucky break. What lucky break? During our first couple of meetings, I showed them on our dashboard that 4th of July ads were running in December. They're like, oh, 4th of July ads are running in December. How much are we spending? I said $50,000 a week. So they were like, oh, yeah, this system is good. It saved me $50,000 a week. So that was a thread of luck that we had, that people said, okay, let's see what else we can do with this thing. So we started fixing things, figuring out what's going on. There were multiple different types of strategies that we deployed, which is again a story for another day. But we started finding the next constraint, fixing it, finding the next constraint, fixing it, and data quality started getting better and better. So I could sense that, yes, people are getting impatient, but the stroke of luck kept happening once in a while. Like the lucky break about 4th of July ads, another lucky break happened. One marketing manager came to me one morning and said, hey, you know what I caught on the platform yesterday? I said, what? That I was by mistakenly spending $100,000 in Argentina when I wanted to spend it in US. I said, how did you find it? I said, that system figured it out, that there is an anomaly. I said, yes, that's what the system is for. So that was another lucky break. I had one more champion. And again, a couple of days later, there was another not so lucky break, because the manager pointed out to the marketing manager that, hey, your cost of acquisition is $4,000 per user. Do you think you should do this campaign? And the marketing manager was like, yeah, maybe it's not a good idea to do this campaign. So these kind of small tidbits kept happening to us, which kept the hope alive that, yes, this system does have some promise. And we kept refining and refining and refining the system. Eventually, we got to a stage where, so it was like we would walk into those meetings, there would be 20 unhappy faces, or one happy face. Suddenly, there were more happy faces than the unhappy faces, and suddenly there were no unhappy faces. So it was a journey where we went from a system where nobody would trust it, they would look at it with suspicion, and eventually seeing the system as an ally. So there was a whole journey of polishing the data quality bits and deploying methods, somewhere statistical, somewhere hand code, somewhere pure manual approaches, somewhere understanding the heuristics and behavior of the data sources, lots and lots of strategies. But eventually we got to a point where things were clean. Now, what happened after people started believing in the system and the fidelity of the system? So first, obvious things, yes, the marketing managers started using it. They were optimizing their spends on that platform. But then we saw that other people also started getting news about this platform. So the finance team came and they said, looks like your data is good. I was like, oh yeah, data is good. So the finance people said, looks like your data is good. So can I use your data to pay our vendors rather than believing on their reports? I said, yeah, why not? Use it. That was one. Then, then one marketing manager had the idea that this vendor of mine based out of New York looks like he is too good to be true. Can you do some data analytics and find out that what is he doing that his performance is so good rather than others? I would like more vendors like them. I said, okay, let's see. It turned out that that vendor was a fraud. They had a bot farm somewhere in some country which was creating users programmatically and charging our company's use. And we could prove it scientifically that this cannot be human users. And the marketing manager took it to the legal took it to the court, and they shut the vendor down. So that was another thing that happened. Then all the low-hanging fruits and all, once they were gone, then people were like, okay, can we write automated decision makers which would spend this money automatedly? Why do I even need human? So we said, okay, yeah, let's try that. So we didn't go all the way, but we started. So to summarize, once we had the confidence on the data, once everybody started believing that there was no data quality issues, people started to take risks on that data itself. And it paid quite handsomely for the team, for them. And if I wish I could use the name, but if I see their marketing spend, after this system went live, year on year, their marketing spend has reduced. It started with $1.3 billion a year. Now I'm sure it would be half or less than that. So it was quite rewarding for them. Personally, for us, it was very rewarding because this project kind of cemented our reputation at the customer's end, and we kept getting more and more and more work. There would be times where at night, 10 o'clock, I would have a discussion with some stakeholder. In the morning, I would have a PO, and that day we would break work on that project, and we'd be rich and live happily ever after. So thank you so much for being with me through this story.